This video is brought to you in part by Boutique FTB, where you can get all your speed paints. Are there really only 2 speed paints to paint skeletons? Let's find out. So, in the world of speed painting, there are many paints out there that claim to be for skeletons, skeleton hordes, or whatever you want to be. When it comes to speed paint, we were put forth Pallid Bone originally over a year ago, and now recently we've been given Bony Matter. So I'm going to be putting these two on some long dead walkers, these two poses, well, just one pose here, and we're going to see what those ones give out as a skeleton. And then we're going to try some newer speed paints to see if there's anything that could compare, be better, or just be awful as a skeleton. That's for you to judge and find out. So let's take a look at some other speed paints. Well, first we're going to start with these two basic ones. So starting right off the bat, like you can see Pallid Bone and Bony Banner at the same time, pretty much painted the exact same area at the exact same time. Now Pallid Bone was the original face off towards Skeleton Horde from Citadel, and frankly it was pretty much identical. And then they brought along Bony Matter this year with the new Speed Paint 2.0, and they brought it in that it makes it a little bit more of a beige color instead of yellowy or more brownish. Anyway, so these are going to be our two base colors to compare all the other ones. I'm going to try. I'm picking up 5 paints that I think would make really cool skeletons. So just looking first at Pallid Bone and Bony Matter here, we can see how the difference is in those. That one of them, like the Pallid Bone, is more yellow. The other one's like got a bit more of a brownish beige hint to it. Very classic skeleton looking miniatures. Alright, let's move on to our very first color called Mummified Grime. Oh, did I scare you there? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I just wanted to show you what a mummy looks like again, if you haven't remembered seeing those. Mummified Grime, love the speed paint. Wasn't liking it as a skeleton color, but as I was painting the other colors of these miniatures afterwards, once it was all dry and sitting there and just looking at them constantly, I started to grow fond of these certain ones, and I'll let you know which ones I think which ones fit more what you want to do. I don't know, like, because there's always a different way that you can paint a miniature, right? And it depends. Like this guy looks a little bit more like he's been decayed for a while, or been getting a little bit more mushy and stuff like that. Doesn't look very bone-like. But as I was also painting these guys, I also noticed that they had a lot of skin as well on their on them, and not just bones. So I had to adapt to that, and I just went along with saying, you know what, the whole skin and bones is going to be the same color. Our next bone attempt will be Howling Sand. I was going to say Holy Sand, but no, it's Howling Sand. This is a very beige color, very, very light. Would work great on a skin color for a regular miniature or any kind of skin tone, I think. But I think it does a great job as a really bleached skeleton bone color. I find it does a pretty good job. It covers up all well. It does a good job in the nooks and crannies. And of course I used white scar on every one of these miniatures to be able to have a good basis so that everything is using the same. The next one is Ochre Clay. I love this Ochre Clay. You know, it's not at all what you expect out of the bottle. It's got this really orangey yellow decayed look to it, and I think that a skeleton and skin of this kind really works well. I mean, look at how the contrast works in there. Like, you just see the light and the dark. Gets into all the ribs there and the skin tones and all the the fleshy parts. It just does a really good gross look to a skeleton, I find. Be good for a zombie maybe, but I find it does a really good job. Look, once it dries up here, just great. I like Ochre Clay. Next is Brownish Decay. So I figured I'd go with these weird colors too, like a decaying color, because I was like, well, sometimes you got like old skeletons that have been a long time dead, or, you know, been cooped up in their coffins for very too long, and they just turn out a little bit mushier than drier. You know, like if they were out in the sun, they'd be more bleached. I think if they'd be in a coffin sitting there for ages, they'd have a little bit more of a weathered, tempered kind. I don't know how you would call it, but it's not great as a color for, I think, for bones and stuff, but I think it does a good job for what I'm trying to do on these miniatures. As you can see, a little bit darker than what I was expected, but it's still pretty awesome. The next one is Rigor Mortis. Now you've seen me use this on actual zombies when I said I wanted to try this as a bone color. This is very similar to the Howling Sand, a little bit more yellowish beige. Looks more like skin than a skeleton, but again, this could be like the type of skeleton that has been sitting out drying for a long time, kind of like the bones you would see more like in a museum kind of thing, or you know, has been cleaned up and that. So kind of neat. Don't know if it works really well on a miniature as per se. Alright, so here's Rigor Mortis, just taking a look at how it looks like. We're going to just compare to some of the OG like Citadel colors, so the Contrast Skeleton Horde, Agaras Dunes, and Agrax Earthshade. And as you can see, they're very similar, these three in color actually. They're actually pretty off of what you would think that there would be such a difference in them, but they're kind of similar to Pallid Bone. Okay, just looking at normal basic colors. But now we're going to take a look at all the ones I just painted here, the two basic ones on the top and the new 5 colors, and here's what my thoughts are on those ones. So the ones that are closest to the actual original colors of paints, I would say would be the Howling Sand and the Rigor Mortis. Those are the closest. If you really want decay, I would go with Ochre Clay and Mummified actually no, Brownish Decay more. Mummified Grime is okay, but it's a little too dark, like too much, I think. But if you compare, like, if you want trying to look for the next best thing in skeleton colors, my opinion, I love is Ochre Clay. I think that is the one that wins this one. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's Ochre Clay? Do you think there's another color that I missed out on? Would you just put a normal skin tone shade on these kind of things? What would you do? Comment in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Hit that like button, okay? Let's get lots of likes on this video. Again, my videos of these Will It Paint series are doing great. I hope you guys are enjoying them. If you're new to the channel and you just found this, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and take a look and see what else I've got out there. And I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.